What's up, everybody? Welcome to the RC Dirt Oval podcast with your host, Alfie Adams. Again, running sort of solo. I had to sneak this interview in during business hours, and Tim is stuck at work. But I'm not talking to myself today like the last time. I am joined for the second time, first time for you, twice for us, Jennifer Lathrop, a.k.a. Sippy Cup. How you doing, Jennifer?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I know, right, like you just enjoyed the first interview so much, you just really wanted to do it twice, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks for flattery. I really appreciate that. So you've been making all kinds of social media buzz, thanks to your sponsor Tekin, and Live RC's covered you, and I've kind of seen you all over. Really didn't know much about you. I had reached out to Auburn Performance Dirt Oval, just trying to get some information on West Coast Dirt Oval, and first thing they responded with, "You need to talk to Jennifer." So I was like, well, as much as I'm seeing her everywhere, it's apparent I must talk to you. So here you are. Tell us about you. How'd you get started? Just give us the rundown.
Just a little brief history. I'm 33. So I started back in December of 2011. My husband used to race full-size sprint cars.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he had a bad accident, hurt his back, wasn't able to do that anymore. So one day he brought home an old RC car. It was an HPI Blitz. Went out to the track several times, and I would record his races. And one day he gave me the controller and said, "Here, go run and try it out." And that was it. I was hooked. I wanted my own. And our first track was in Sacramento at I believe it was called Cap City Raceway or Capital City Raceway.
Okay.
But that's where it all began for me, running some off-road.
So what's that, 5 or 6 years you've been racing?
Yeah, December, I believe, is 6 years.
Wow. And that's pretty impressive in that short amount of time to, be featured from Tekin and Live RC. So congrats on that.
Thank you. It's definitely surprising for me, but very exciting.
Yeah, I'm
sure. Take it.
Yeah, right. And I guess the very first thing that I'd ever seen of you was a race you won in Ohio, of all places. So what's up with that?
So at the time I had been racing less than a year.
Okay.
I was running Nitro Late Model. My husband won a championship for the Best of the West Dirt Oval Series. So he was in a special invite class for Nitro Late Model. So we primarily flew back there for him. But I wanted to run also, so I ran their open class and ended up qualifying, I believe, second and winning.
Wow. So
it was pretty shocking.
Yeah. I would I would imagine. I mean, that's kind of like a textbook ending right there. I mean,
it was very, very exciting. We have, I know the race is on YouTube. It's been passed around the internet a few times. And I still get just as excited watching the race now as I did when I was racing.
I'm sure. Yeah, my gosh. I mean, just to show up, and I mean, was that the first time ever at the track, or?
Yes, I've never been to Ohio.
Okay.
And this track was absolutely massive. It was an indoor go-kart track.
Okay.
And it was about, I believe it was like around 30 degrees of banking through the corners.
Wow.
And the straightaway was banked just as much. It was unreal.
Where was this in Ohio?
This was the track at the time. I don't think it's a dirt oval anymore.
Gotcha.
But it was called BMI Raceway.
Okay.
I want to say it was about 35 minutes from Eldora.
Okay. That would make sense then. All right. Well, I have to know. I've seen your fan page. The name Sippy Cup. What?
Yes.
That's got to be a good story with that.
It is. It's definitely stuck, and surprisingly,
All right.
most people know me only as Sippy Cup.
Oh.
Yes. So it started when we first started racing dirt oval.
Okay.
The majority of the racers were a lot older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the baby of the bunch, I guess you can say.
Right.
So we would always, of course, with all the other drivers, either go out to breakfast every morning before the races or out to dinner. And the name started by Mel Linder, which is one of the guys that also runs Auburn Performance Raceway Dirt Oval.
Okay.
We went out for, I believe it was breakfast, and he decided to play a joke on me and ordered a sippy cup full of milk with a coloring book and crayons from Denny's.
Uh-huh.
And everywhere we went from there, he would do that and have the kids menu delivered for me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes. So, I mean, and then he just started calling me Sippy Cup, and the name just stuck, and he ended up finding a theme song for me called Sippy Cup.
See, if I'd have known that, I would have contacted him in advance and used it as bumper music for you.
Oh, gosh.
Huh? I still might have to see if I can't fit that in somehow. So,
oh, yeah. Every time I see him, he always plays that song. It kills me.
That's awesome, though. Hey, I mean, that's good fun, right? You know?
It is. Very true.
Okay, so, for those who've listened for a while, people know that I geek out on equipment. So tell us what you're currently running right now.
Right now, for my dirt oval class, I'm running a conversion sprint car, which is a C4 chassis with B6 components.
Okay.
So the front end and rear end.
Right.
I'm also running an SC mod, which is a Maverick chassis with low C components.
Right.
So that's my dirt oval program. My wingless car is also a C4 chassis as well. And for off-road, I'm running all associated. I have a B6 two-wheel drive buggy as well as the B64 for four-wheel. I don't have anything nitro yet, but we are working on getting some nitro cars as well.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so we enjoy nitro. That's kind of our getaway from the other scenes.
Sure.
But that's about it right now.
Okay, so you do oval and off-road.
Yes.
So how much do you typically race, like, on a weekly basis? Once a week, twice a week?
My goal is usually twice a week.
Okay.
At least in the off-road scene. I try to run as much as I can because that's such a competitive class.
Right.
So I try to run, Fridays are my day off. So I try to run Fridays on my own. And then on the weekends, I race either club races or any events that are happening. Dirt oval, it's very tough to get any time in because there's not a lot of dirt oval tracks close enough to me.
Yeah.
So when it comes to dirt oval, we'll usually run on a race weekend that's having a big program for dirt oval.
Yeah.
Only because it's such a travel for us.
So how far away is your closest dirt oval track?
It's close to an hour away.
Okay.
So, Santa Clarita, they have an outdoor dirt oval, but they run a lot of club races.
Oh, okay.
So I mostly travel to either Bakersfield, and I run their oval program there, or Auburn near Sacramento to run their big races.
Okay. So how far is Sacramento from you?
Sacramento is about 7 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drive.
Yeah, that's dedication.
Yes. We like to travel, so.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's my biggest fun in this hobby is to travel around other tracks, other people. I mean, that's what I enjoy. So do you run off road in Southern California any, or you mostly stick to your home area?
No, we do a lot of traveling with off road as well.
Okay.
I mean, we have a ton of tracks right around the LA area.
Okay.
So, I mean, between SDRC, OCRC, LRH, Hot Rod Hobbies.
Oh, yeah.
There's a ton around here.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have a choice of where to run, but there's also tracks that are a little bit of a travel distance as well that we like to go to also.
Right.
Like Arizona's not that far from us.
Okay.
Or we'll go to the Bakersfield, Rain Man's Hobbies.
Yeah.
We'll run his outdoor program as well. Or indoor, actually, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we love to travel all the time.
Hey, man, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So your husband still races, right? He got you started, and he's still racing.
Yes. So
how does that work? That's got to make for some awkward ride homes, especially 6-7 hour ride home. If you've just embarrassed him that night. I mean, has he come to accept it, and he's just it is what it is, or?
I think he has. I mean, I don't know if he has much choice.
Yeah.
I do know at the beginning it was pretty tough for him, which I feel so bad. But because he gets it really bad from our friends as well, because our friends give him a hard time as also anytime that I beat him. So, and of course, it always gets blasted all across the internet.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. So it's like he can't run from it. He can't hide from it. So he's the poor guy. He's had no choice but to face it and accept it.
Right.
So
right.
Now when we go to the track, it's almost like we of course help each other and we're there for each other and support.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when we're on the track, it's, do or die.
Yeah. It's cutthroat, right?
Exactly. I mean, there's no favoritism whatsoever between us on the track.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had my moments where I've taken him out several times in off-road and dirt oval. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go apologize to him. And I'm like, oh my God, it's 10 times harder for me because that's my husband. The last thing I want to do is take him out or anybody out. But if it's him, it's like escalated by 1,000.
Oh, sure. It's like, hey, babe, I love you, but you were way slower and you had my line. Sorry.
Right? Oh my God. Been there. We've had that discussion too.
Yeah. All right. So, I know my area, the East Coast, really well. The Midwest for oval is kind of the hotbed. And so, it doesn't take much following on social media to see what they got out there, but it's almost kind of like the West Coast is the forgotten stepchild of oval racing. So if you could paint me and everybody listening, just like a small picture of what the scene is out there. What are the big classes? I mean, I know you guys run sprint, which thank goodness sprint is kind of sprint anywhere you are in the U.S. It's not, there's not a variant really. I mean, we're all pretty much running the same stuff, which is fantastic. But I guess you guys run SC mod, which is pretty much the same as a Midwest, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you run late models much?
Sometimes we have a wave of where there's a lot of late models. Like, for example, 5 years ago, there was a ton of late models.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes through its wavelengths of, okay, that class dies out, then it comes back.
Yeah.
I think right now it's starting to make another comeback.
Okay.
That class is slowly growing more and more. So it's coming, but I don't think it's as big or gonna get as big as like what sprint cars or wingless sprint is.
Right. Now, what do you guys have out there for like either a spec class or like an entry point? What are you guys running out there for that stuff?
It's pretty well open.
Okay.
The only rules spec class, we have two basically 2 spec classes, depending on, each track has their own rules and such.
Sure.
But like SC Mod, they'll put like a spec motor on that, but no spec tires.
Okay.
They'll leave the tire situation open, which a lot of tracks out here seem to do.
Right.
And then trying to think, there's wingless. They'll do a spec class for the wingless sprint.
Okay.
But again, they leave it all open tire.
Right.
Yeah. So it's pretty far in between when we see with any of our dirt ovals out here that keep it 100% spec.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, compared to, the East Coast, where I know that there's several classes out there that offer that.
We're all spec out here. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Oh, it's between spec stuff and the big thing, and it's I don't want to complain about it because it's been tremendous for the hobby. But we have a class out here called Mud Boss, which is it's a Northeast modified, but it's
really,
yeah. Well, the Northeast modifieds at one point in time had the term Mud Bus associated with them, and so it's just a variant of it. But it's an entry class and it's a spec class. It's supposed to be for drivers, and it's a stock slash, and you can't change anything on it other than like shock fluids and the internals of the shocks. But other than that, it's a slash. How it came out of the box, you throw a modified body on it and you race.
Really?
Yeah.
That actually sounds like fun.
Well, it's got some pitfalls because, you got the guys that are going to sit there and push the rules as far as they can when it's supposed. The intention of it was, it was just supposed to be a fun entry class that, or a driver's class. A fellow teammate of yours, Eric Salvis, who's in Canada, he's a Tekin guy. Long-term oval racer. He started this class to try to give something, as an entry point and an affordable racing class. And it's taken off like wildfire. I mean, it's bringing so many people into the hobby, which is fantastic, but it's also creating this atmosphere of every class has to be a spec class because we like structured rules.
Yeah.
But then you get into the, when you're in like 17.5 classes are really big out here. And so then you get into the guys that are buying, the $150 certified motors and, everything to try to get that advantage, and I'm going, guys, let's just open it up, because then you can buy a $30 track star and, be competitive.
Yeah.
Because you're over motoring the track. So, but yeah, so, you guys sound really similar to Midwest, probably just not the popularity that they have.
Yeah. I would say that, the East Coast is definitely far more popular in dirt oval.
Oh yeah.
But I want to say out here on the West Coast, we are definitely more up there when it comes to off-road.
Oh, no, yeah, no doubt. I mean, that is, you can't see a off-road story without it, usually being in Southern California or something.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, we did,
or even Nitro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Nitro especially. I mean, we did luck out and had the Roar off-road nats here about 3 hours from my house this year.
Nice.
Yeah, and I wanted to take my son over so he could watch, all the big names, but there was no spectating room. It was indoors, so
yeah.
But all right, so I got to hit the elephant in the room here real quick.
Sure.
What has it been like being a woman in a predominantly male-dominated hobby?
It's really not as bad as you would think.
Okay.
When it comes to off-road, I would say a lot of the guys are more open and accepting to the fact of a female racer.
Right.
I haven't really had any issue when it comes to that. With dirt oval and nitro racing, I would say it's a bit more tough when it comes to that. I would say that with the dirt oval crowd, it's mostly the older generation, and a lot of the men, from my own personal experience, just wouldn't give me the time of day when I would show up at the track. They would look down at me. They wouldn't speak to me. They just basically would laugh at me until I would get out on the track and prove myself.
Right.
Once they saw that, okay, I'm a serious racer and I'm out here, to kick butt, then they're like, okay, wait a second, who is this person? And then they were interested in me, and then they would show me more respect.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I mean, although there was unfortunately, some men out there or guys that wouldn't show me the respect, and they would purposely try to take me out on the track.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
To this day, sometimes I still have that happen. I lost a nitro race one time because a guy spent his entire time trying to take me out on the track, and he ended up actually breaking my truggy, which those cars are freaking like battle proof. You can't break them.
Right.
But it made me so mad that I went looking for him after the race.
You're going to throw down.
Yeah, I was very upset.
Yeah.
I mean, but the guy ended up taking off and leaving.
Oh,
he left the track.
Classy.
So it worked out for him, I guess you can say. But I mean, it has its moments. But for the most part, I think it's getting better over time.
Yeah, I think there's a big separation in maybe the professionalism, maybe is the word, between off-road and oval. You know, off-road is in a lot more spotlight. That's where a lot of the sponsorships are, and so and there are other women running off-road on a pro or semi-pro level. But oval, it seems like a lot of times, at least in my areas, that it tends to be viewed as kind of like a guy's night out, and it's a boys' night, and that's cool and that's fun. But a lot of those same guys are the ones talking about how they want to see it grow and take off, and more people come in, and if I had $1 for every time I've heard, we need more kids involved, they're the future of this, yet not doing much for the kids, I'd be a rich man. So I hope, because I feel oval's booming right now. I hope as it booms, I hope we can kind of like leave some of the boys club behind and go a little more semi-pro here, Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so kind of related. This is something I was thinking about because it's something that's always made me chuckle. At big races, have you yet had an experience where you've podiumed and they have podium girls?
One.
Okay.
Or two. I take it back. Two.
Okay. And how did that go?
It's absolutely fine.
Okay.
I actually felt kind of funny because, like, for example, my big win that I had in Ohio.
Right.
The gal that was our podium gal, she was taller than me, so I felt like a true little kid.
Oh my
next to her.
gosh.
I felt like a total goofball. So that was funny, but she was a total kick. I love her. I actually still talk to her on Facebook.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, her and her family. But I also had, this was an outdoor race at a fair that we did, like kind of like an expo.
Okay.
And the gal, she was nice. I mean, I didn't have any issues. It's kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm like, wait a minute. I need a guy next to me. I don't need a girl.
Right, right.
But to me, it doesn't bother me. I think it's funny.
Yeah, but can you imagine the role reversal here? So in our day of political correctness and equal rights, I think you should demand that some studly dude in like a Speedo or something is up there, right? And just see how the guys feel about that.
True. I'll have to request that next time.
Yeah,
Maybe the chili bowl.
There you go. There you go. I've just always kind of thought that the whole podium girl thing was comical, because RC racers are not usually like the most fit or, handsome guys. And, sometimes I see some pictures and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's probably as close to a girl as that guy is getting, and but I was just curious because you always see them with like their arm around them, and it's like, yeah, I got this beautiful girl. And I'm like, man, what does Jennifer get to do when that happens? It's, yeah.
Nothing.
I've probably ran away so many male listeners right now. Like, that dude's an idiot. I want podium girls everywhere. But anyway.
Well, I might have to talk to Scotty for the chili bowl and say, hey, that he needs to have some guys on backup for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you should. That would be awesome.
Right.
Well, just I'm one that is a huge proponent of growing the hobby. I prefer a race with 200 people over 20. And
absolutely, yeah.
What is like the biggest thing you could see off the top of your head that racers, track promoters, everybody involved could do to make this a friendlier environment for women?
Oh gosh. I would say as far as friendly wise goes, I never have any issues at the track, and I think everybody's pretty great.
Okay.
Everybody's very friendly at the track. I mean, whenever I do go to the track, I consider all the guys that I race with basically my RC family.
Yeah.
I've gotten very close with a lot of people. So everybody, as far as going to the track, everybody's very open. Everybody's very informative, willing to help, will go out of their way for other people. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing that you can do for women at the racetrack is have clean restrooms.
Amen.
I think that's number one. Because I hear from a lot of other women that they don't like coming to the track because of the restroom situation.
Sure.
So I would say work on that. Otherwise, everything else is pretty good and perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's I look at activities that draw, like big families out. And in our area, it's, like travel baseball, travel softball, that type of stuff. And, it's evident that the facility is built, with families in mind. And I know RC tracks, nobody's getting rich off RC tracks. I mean,
right.
That just doesn't happen. But I think a little care and a little thought of, what does a first timer see when they come here, and how would it be with children and how would it be, for women, and make it as accessible to the largest audience that you can to get people out.
Exactly.
All right. Chili Bowl 2018, right? You're there?
I'm there.
Do you have tires? That's a big question.
No, I do not have tires yet.
Okay.
I'm still working on that situation.
Yeah. Well, I've found like a lot of dark alleyways where people are claiming, hey, we got rebars down here. So I'm afraid that, that's the avenue I'm going to have to take. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've contacted quite a few people trying to find out about the tire situation. And so that way I can kind of plan for it and be prepared. But I'm coming to find out that you do have to kind of go the back road to get any sort of tires. So that's probably what I'm going to have to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, or I guess fortunately for a lot of the small hobby shops.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I've beat this horse to death here lately, but it's frustrating to say the least.
Yes, I agree completely.
And you're going to run open sprint, and what else are you running, if anything?
I'm going to be running wingless sprint as well as SC mod.
Oh, okay. 3 classes.
Yes.
Yeah. And your husband?
So he is going to be running the same 3 classes.
Oh, nice. So you guys might like end up in the main together.
That would be pretty cool. That's my goal. If I can make the main in all 3 classes, I'm going to be a happy camper.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I this morning put out on our Facebook page if there were any questions, and we did have some. I'm not sure how serious all of these questions are, but
oh no,
yeah, they're not too bad. Where did they go? I think some of them are friends of yours. So we'll start right here with a question from a gentleman named Dana. I'm not going to try to pronounce last names. Like, guys, when you ask questions, I'm sorry. If you don't have a simple last name like Adams, I'm just not going to say it because I'm terrible with names. Dana says, what kind of wheel nuts does she use on her Maverick chassis?
Oh, ouch. So there's a story behind that.
Okay. I'd hope so.
Yes. So the last series that I ran, that I won my championship in for the sprint car class.
The Triple Crown?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually lost the championship in SC Mod, one because of a wheel nut failure.
Oh, no.
Yes. So I had the same wheel nut fall off the right rear twice in a heat and the main.
Oh, my gosh.
So needless to say, I have replaced those wheel nuts with some good ones. Yeah, I had the serrations on the wheel nut went dull.
Oh, wow.
That was the problem. So I have brand new wheel nuts. The problem is fixed. It will not happen again.
Gotcha. And Dana, he's with Maverick Chassis, right?
Yes, he is the owner.
Yeah, I've chatted with him a little bit about him coming on the show. He seems like a really good guy.
He is. He's a character.
Awesome. So Jason Watt asked, what track surface does she prefer the most? High bite or loose dirt, and why?
Gosh, that's a tough one. I would say I like loose dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I like loose dirt is because it brings the true driver out in you.
Right.
You actually have to drive the car and set up the car, get the car to hook up, and you got to be able to manipulate and control that car.
Right.
Compared to a high bite track, everybody's going to have traction. Anybody can drive the track.
Right, right.
So I think I personally like the loose dirt because I like to see the drivers come out and excel from there. So with you and your husband racing the same classes, do you guys share setup secrets, or is that like, like, I'm not telling you. No, I'm not telling you. I threaten that, but it doesn't work.
Okay.
We actually run very, very similar setups. We only have little minor tweaks here and there based off of our own driving.
Sure.
I would say in dirt oval, our setups are a little different only because my husband, he's a very smooth, consistent driver.
Okay.
And he doesn't really push the car to the maximum.
Gotcha.
Where I'm more on throttle. I want to push that car as hard as it can go. And most of the time, I'm overdriving my car.
Right.
So I got to tell myself to back down. But I like to drive a car, especially in dirt oval, really deep into the corner and throttle my way out of it.
Yep.
It's where he's more about rolling the corner and keeping that momentum. So with that being said, we have minor differences in our setups because of our style of driving. But otherwise, everything's the same. Usually tires, our diff package, our shock package, everything's always the same.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. This has got to be a friend. A guy named Steve asked, why is her husband Randy slower than her?
Oh, ouch. Oh gosh. I think because I'm more aggressive. So
Okay.
Randy's more calm.
Okay.
or I can say I'm just that good.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, own it, right? Walk in it.
Right.
Okay, so the famous Matt Murphy,
Oh goodness.
he has a question, and I think I'm going to answer this for Matt, but if you want to weigh in too, you can. Matt Murphy wants to know, how many licks does it take to get to the middle of a Tootsie Pop? Well, Matt Murphy, you might be the man when it comes to setup, but Mr. Owl answered that question for us many years ago. It's 3 licks. It's on video. You can go back and look it up. Now, we could do a test today, but I'm afraid in this culture, it would have to be a spec pop that was tested. And availability of that spec pop is very, very slim. So I'm not sure we could get a good controlled test. I hope that answers Matt's question.
That was perfect.
All right. A guy named Brad Noon, who's a Midwest racer. I've been chatting with him a little bit too. He wants to know, what's the bounty on beating her at the Chili Bowl?
Ouch. He might have to talk to my husband about that one.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I guess people are going to be gunning for you, sounds like.
I think so too. My husband's one of them.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, my husband's already talking smack to me, saying that how he's going to kick my butt.
Yeah. Now, are you guys flying out or driving out?
We're driving.
And how long of a drive is that for you?
It's going to be about 18 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like a 19-hour drive for me, so we're about the same.
Yeah.
All right, and I had one last one just come in. We've kind of touched on this, but we'll get the specific answer to this.
Okay.
TQ Chassis RC Racing ask, does she feel RC car racing welcomes women into the sport / hobby, or does she feel there are still barriers? If there are still barriers, what are they, and what is the best way to remove them? Wow, we're getting deep here.
I know. Oh my goodness. I feel like I need a cup of coffee to answer this one.
Right?
There's so many points to hit on.
Yeah.
Well, like I said before, it has its moments with dirt oval.
Yeah.
But for the off-road scene, I would say it's far more welcome.
Yeah.
To women racers. And there's tons of help out there constantly. So
right.
Any woman can come out, whether they're with, their significant other, a friend, or just themselves. There's plenty of times where I've gone to the track by myself and everybody's willing to help. Mm-hmm. So in the off-road scene, very welcome. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Dirt oval, different.
Yeah.
Like I said, it has its moments. And one thing that I can hit on is, I would say it gets more testy in the dirt oval when you become more competitive. Mm-hmm. So if you're, say, coming in as, a brand new driver, as a rookie driver, everybody's like happy and, oh, let's help you do this, mm-hmm. get you out there. But the moment you become competitive and you start beating those guys, that's when it changes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes. Then they're like, yeah, then the whole attitude changes. And then eventually they accept it. And then they start showing you that respect again. Mm-hmm. Or they don't. It can go either way. But I say don't let that stop you. If you're out there to have fun, go have fun. Right. Do it. There's enough people out there that will support you compared to those that are the opposite. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, I was looking at that question, I was just sitting there thinking at the tracks I go to around here, what would it be like? Because I don't know if, no, I take that back. There is one woman racer at a track I go to, but the other tracks that there are no women racing, what would be the reception? And it actually makes me cringe to think of mm-hmm. like how they would be received. So I think dirt oval guys, I think we can do a lot better. And I think that, the beauty of this hobby sport for some is that it's accessible to everybody,
Yes.
That's some of the things that, when I got back into this and, I'm seeing major races and people with, disabilities and handicaps, up there wheeling with everybody else. And I'm like, it made my heart feel good. And,
Yes.
so Dirt Oval guys, we definitely got to step it up.
I agree.
All right. So I've kept you long enough. I appreciate it. You have been absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see you at the Chili Bowl.
Definitely.
Before we go, shout out sponsors, people you that's taken you out and left the track. If you want to call them out now, call them out. The floor is yours. Say what you need to say.
Well, first of all, thank you for contacting me. I greatly appreciate it. And taking the time for this interview.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I also want to thank definitely all my sponsors. I have Tekin, Proline, ProTech, A-Main Hobbies, Maverick Chassis, Shell Racing, and Jen's Ace.
All right.
They've all been amazing and super supportive of me throughout my racing career. And my husband, of course, for always being there by my side and helping me with my setups and being my number one supporter as well. So those are my fans,
Awesome.
my main guys.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, it was a pleasure. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.
Hey, all. Just wanted to say thanks for listening. As always, we really appreciate it. You can find Jennifer on Facebook at Jennifer Sippy Cup Lathrop. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/RC Dirt Oval. Until next time, that's a wrap.